Ladies and gentlemen, in this RedGamerTed.com video, I am here to show you how to do blemish and spot removal in Adobe Photoshop. This can be done on pretty much any Photoshop version that supports these tools. I know, pretty much any of the CSs will do, for example. So anyway, if you take a look at this rather gorgeous young lady, you'll notice that she has some freckles, although this works with spots, blemishes, maybe even light scars, that type of thing. So it's perfect if you just want to do quick light touching. Now there's a few ways we can go about this. Also I might show you guys some other cool techniques as well in this one. So you could see that she has a few, they're not bad or anything like that. So, we'll go through the basics. So first thing we're going to do, and I'd always recommend you do this, and that is create a duplicate layer. It's just the smartest way to work. It saves you damaging anything. You can also get to the same result by pressing Ctrl J. That will also create a duplicate of the layer, and I believe it's Ctrl Alt J will allow you to name the layer. So we'll just call this cleaning. There we go. I don't know why I added the space there. Anywho, so yeah, as I was saying, oh, by the way, you can also drag by using the mouse wheel, and that will allow you to scroll up and down on the image, as you would expect. So anyway, as I was saying, this young lady has a few blemishes. I would say that they are actually work fairly well for her, actually, and they're not, bad or take away anything. But let's just say, for example, that that's not your case. Let's say you have I don't know, a small spot or something that is really annoying you when you have a photo taken, and it just annoys you. And let's just say you want that to be your Facebook profile or something. It happens to be on the corner of your nose or something like that. So let's just say there's a couple of ways to do this. The first and simpler way, and kind of the no-brainer way, would be to use the clone tool. Now, the clone tool does pretty much what you expect on the tin. You have to be careful though. Let's say, for example, we were to clone that section. That just looks wrong. Indeed, let's say we were to clone that section. That obviously is going to be wrong as well. In other words, you need to make sure that the colours are roughly even. See, that's a fairly reasonable job. Now, you're best to use a fairly soft brush, and to do that you can just hold the shift key and use the brackets on your keyboard. On a standard UK keyboard, and I'm assuming it's the same on the American as well, it would be the ones next to the P, between the P and the enter key. So you can just go ahead and do that and make it as soft as possible. So anyway, as I was saying, I'm going to zoom in a smidge. Since it's a fairly large image, we've got the resolution to play with, and you can see that that does a fairly good job. It's not perfect by any means, but it's pretty good. The other option, and indeed one that I quite like to do, because I think it's just simple and quick and easy, and that's the healing brush tool. This basically samples the texture of what you're trying to heal, and it works a lot around the colors around it. You have to be a bit careful on this one because it does pull in neighboring pixel colors. I know what you're thinking. I have absolutely no idea what this guy just said to me, and that's fine. I'll do a visual demonstration. So this one that's just under her eyebrow, or on her eye, if I can speak correctly, that would be brilliant. Let's go with, let's say here. I think that's a pretty good indication. And you'll notice that it's about the right size. You can make it a little bit bigger and smaller. And it didn't do a bad job, maybe a little bit more. And another small drag, and that's pretty good. I mean, if you really zoomed in and was really analytical, you could probably tell that, something fishy happened. But generally speaking, you're not going to notice it. And we could do the same here. I always recommend you resample to the area closest. And, we could just do her cheek. You don't actually have to be that precise. So, for example, here, that'd probably work too. And we could also do it around there. And it works fairly well. We can also do it there. And, there we go. And for her, that works okay. I'm not going to bother to get rid of the tiny little, micro spots there or anything like that. And we could also do the same there if we so desire. Although you can see that one's not that great. It does bring in a little bit. There we go. Now, I'm not going to go into the whole image and show you how to create all of it, but one area I do want to show you is this. Now, it's very tempting to grab the healing tool, so as it is, and let's say we sample here and we drag. Oh, that's not so good. Let's try there. No. Let's try there. No. What it basically is coming down to is because the transition is so sharp between these pixels. I mean, I don't really need to zoom in to demonstrate this, but you guys can see it. I was just about to point, but that's not really going to help. Let's go to the arrow tool. This right here is obviously a lot darker, and this tool, I'm not going to make it too complicated, but this tool is not that great for this purpose. So instead, we are much better off going with the healing tool, and you're going to want to be a bit careful. You're going to want to kind of make sure that you're not doing too much at a time, because it's really easy. And indeed, you can lower the opacity on this, so you could just kind of teeter, if you will, over it, and that'll somewhat help. Now, if you really wanted to be extraordinarily anal about this, and I'm not going to so much, but you could also use the burn tools, which would be another option. And that obviously darkens or lightens a part of the image. So for example, you're putting a really low opacity and just kind of toast the area. I'd even say that's a bit too much. I'd say that's kind of closer, and that would kind of fix the area a little bit more. So obviously, if you were to go into this and actually really, focus on it and spend some time, it's all about time on this, I'm afraid. There's no quick shortcut. You can't just blast it. In fact, we could probably do a little bit of healing there, and that just kind of brings the whole area into focus, and it just looks a bit more natural. So by no means is that perfect job. It was quick and it was dirty, but you know what, it works, and that's the important thing, right? So we're just going to test this area here, and you can see that once again this tool works brilliantly on that area, because there's nothing really to get upset over. But let's say, for example, there was a spot here, even though there's not. You can see the colours being introduced there are not that good. So I think that's a fairly good option. Also, you could, on something like this, you can probably get away with making a selection. That would probably work too, around that area, and then doing it. But it can be a bit trickier, and for the most part, for something like this, which has a very organic looking shape, it's probably not worth your time, and it's just simple just to do that. But for the most part, the healing tool is the healing brush tool. As long as you are roughly sensible with where you select, it's gonna do the job. So I'm going to be putting out some more tutorials. I'm just going to do that just for the hell of it. So hopefully you guys are going to enjoy them. I'm going to give you guys another small tutorial today, which is going to be part and parcel of this one, and that is basically eye color adjustments. This works on if you just want to go with a zany party effect or whatever else. Let's say you want to turn her eyes, green, pure green, or let's say for this we want to turn them, I don't know, blood red or something. So I'm going to throw that in as well. So to do this, there are multiple ways, just like everything in Photoshop. I'm going to duplicate this layer again. I'm just going to double click and I'm going to rename it. Oh no, let's go with good. And I'm just going to throw that in the background, just kind of do that just to give me a good status. I could also do something else like create a history state, but I don't have that panel up and I couldn't really be bothered to do it. So anyway, there's a few ways to do this. One of them would be an adjustment layer, and that's what we're going to be going with because I feel it's easy. So we're going to create a hue saturation layer here, and we're just going to rob it of saturation just so we can get an idea of what we're actually working with. And indeed, let's go back and we'll rob it of all saturation. And what we're going to do is there's a couple ways to do this. I'm just going to basically select the eye itself. I'm just going to get rid of that because that's offending me. So what we're going to do is we're just going to go with brush tool, and we can just simply brush in the details that we want. So in this case, we're not going to do this too professionally. Normally I'd recommend you actually take your time and, you know, create the layer, but this is a fairly easy shape. Her eye is fairly straight on, so we can just do this real quick with the brush tool. So there you go. It's not perfect. It's a little bit under there, and if you guys were obviously spending a bit more time on this rather than just the few moments I've got, you could probably do it a lot better. So let's just do that, and now we can just hit colorize, and we can just kind of choose a color, and then you could probably multiply that inside, and you could do something pretty cool. And so you can get kind of a cool party looking shape there. Or another option, you could simply remove all of that, turn it down, normal, and you could literally just alter the hue color like that. So it would be a lot better, obviously, if you were to do a really good selection, which I'd always encourage, and remove that, for example. And you can see that once you've zoomed out, it doesn't look too bad. I mean, obviously, if you were to spend a bit more time on it, it could look a hell of a lot better. But overall, it doesn't look too bad if we just, you know, turn that off and then back on. You can see it's quick and dirty. It's not perfect, but it's a quick and dirty solution just to change someone's iris color. So anyway, these are 2 quick tips. I think they'll just about cover everything you will need to know in this particular thing. I'll create some more Photoshop lessons for you guys soon. So, oops, bye for now, and take care of yourselves.